of what we can do something about. Okay, and these are questions that you have wanted to know, and Ma's really good about that. When I listen to Ma and he talks, and I want to tell you something he says, because when you go, oh, one day I said, so what's going on in the universe? And he said, oh, you mean the multiverse? And it went click. And one day I said, Ma, it does God? And he said, Dottie, would it bother you if I told you that God was a committee?
A what?
Committee.
Oh.
And I said, a committee? He said, the whole God energy is in so many galaxies. And there's all that energy that's around. So it's almost like there's a little bit more compartmentalized than we thought, because Source is so huge. And immediately I thought of the Star Wars bar, when they walk in and there's all these different people, and maybe that's God, So when Ma talks to me, it comes in with things that make me go, what? And the minute I feel real comfortable that I know for sure this is a certain way, Ma stretches me a little bit more. And I like it, it makes me think. And then sometimes I said, we disagree. I said, well, I don't think that's the way it is. And he'll go, that's fine.
You'll see.
You'll see. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting way of looking at life. Okay, you'll see. Okay, so Mary, do you have some kind of a universal question you would like to ask?
I don't know now that I heard it more defined, but I can't help but look at what's going on with the Ebola in the African nations, and the lack of preparedness that all of us have for that kind of a thing, and I wondered if there was anything Ma wanted to say.
Yeah, Ma has been talking to me about this a lot, and he says what's happened is we do have a vaccine that's being worked on right now. It has all the components of what we need to stop it, but it hasn't quite gelled yet, and he said give it another 6 months. And we're going to have something that will do that. But he says that, unfortunately, the Ebola virus is a lot like the AIDS virus, that is just as we catch it and we get rid of it, it mutates. And so he says that this is going to be something that's going to be chased quite a bit, but we're going to find a lot of it has to do with other countries kind of coming to grips more with the sanitation, the water, and all that. So if we slow it down by catching it, we can annihilate it, but it's going to take, he says, 3 generations.
Oh, jeez.
So
be patient.
People or virus?
People. Yeah. So we can, it's like it's a wildfire, and we're going to start putting out the fires, but we can't get to the core of it and that's 75 years. Yeah. Okay, Ray?
Well, I was going to say past, but we're all talking about Robin Williams. And I just can't imagine his doing something like that.
Why not?
Okay.
Ma says he was very, very depressed. He was always on. I met Robin when I was doing stand-up, and I was telling somebody, I shook his hand, and his hand was shaking. And this was at 6 o'clock in the afternoon or evening. He was either on drugs or alcohol. I mean, I'm too much a child of the 60s to not know when I feel something like that. And when they say he was always on, he was quite often on alcohol or drugs. He received the Academy Award under acid. I mean, this man could not be alone within that part of him. And after a while, when you can't be alone anymore with yourself, you usually have to just completely let go.
And he told everybody how much pain he was in.
He was so depressed,
Everyone.
depressed. And that's why. Jonathan Winters went through the same thing. And one of the things that was very interesting is that Friday night I was sitting on California Street in San Francisco talking about Robin Williams and Jonathan Winters. I have no idea.
Your son brought it up that he'd come back into rehab.
Yeah.
Because
and to be, I don't just sit in the car in San Francisco that often, and we were waiting for the rest of my grandkids to come back from outside lands. But we're sitting there, and my son and I talked about the fact that he had that much negative energy going in San Francisco on Friday night that we could feel it. That's a lot of negative energy. This man was very hurt, and I'm so glad he's out of pain. Because that's what my guide says, you know. Oh, yes, he's out of pain now.
What, did they put him on medication? Was he on medication?
He was always on medication.
But I'm talking about.
Yeah, he was always on
Antidepressants.
medication. He was always in rehab. He was, you know, seeing therapists. He just was not happy with himself. He liked to entertain. That's when he got that feedback of positive energy, because he didn't have it. And you're going to find, many of you are going to find in life people like that, that inner core, however it got damaged, just can't make positive energy. But it can put it out there for everybody else. And a lot of them are comedians. I wrote on Facebook, I said, maybe I didn't do too well as a comedian because I didn't have a dark enough side. And I meant it seriously, because so many of them are like that.
When you say dark enough side, can you explain that better?
Yeah, to be a good comedian, you have to get out of yourself and be out there and entertain. And usually it's because you're escaping yourself. And that's why you start entertaining as a child. Johnny Carson had a lot of problems with depression. And he started very young, getting out of himself, whether it was being a magician or anything else. So Ma says that, yeah, and there's some of the wonderful, wonderful comedians that didn't, like George Burns and, you know, people that lived long, long lives, but they were always, even Bob Hope, were having problems within themselves of being good enough.
Being good enough?
For themselves.
Wow.
It's also a chemical issue too in the brain.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Well, the internet
you
said
can
he
be-
wasn't diagnosed as bipolar, at least the article that's on my
Well, he was
computer,
just mainly depressed.
or not even as chemically depressed. And some of the medications now have risks that it can make a person feel suicidal with the wrong
Exactly.
medication.
Anybody in here
That's
ever?
why I was curious.
Anybody in here ever feel suicide beside me? Anybody feel suicidal?
Not right now, but
No, ever. Yeah, not right now.
Homicidal, maybe.
Homicidal. That's a whole different energy. But if you've ever felt
You
suicidal,
could do it, yeah.
That's good.
if you've ever been there, where you feel like don't want to live another moment in my life, it's one of the scariest things. And I'll share that, and I've shared this in church. And mine was, I took an overdose. I was 33. And I woke up in the hospital. And I looked around, and I was in a single private ward. And Ma said, look around. Who's here? You keep thinking you're going to do something so you can be loved better, or these people are going to be nicer to you, or something. The only person you've got in your life right now is you. And that's the only person you have for the rest of your life. Now, you better learn to like yourself, because, baby, this is it. And when I got out and I went home, a friend of mine had made me a banner that she hung on my bedroom wall, and it said, I swear by my life and my love of it, I will not live my life for another man, nor ask another man to live for mine. And it hung there for a year before I felt good enough to go on. And that's by
Thank you, Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand, yeah. But if you haven't felt suicidal, you can't identify. But if you have, you go, the pain just got too much. Yeah. And that's what happened with Robin. Yeah. Okay, Sharon, you have a question? And if you don't have a question, you can say pass.
Okay, I'm going to pass on this one.
Okay, Laura.
I'm going to take us out to the stars.
Okay.
I want to know how Earth's moon came into being.
How what?
How Earth's moon came into being. And Ma says part of Earth. It is part of Earth. It has some of the same qualities and everything else. When everything happened, as if I know exactly what he's talking about. Said when everything happened, and Earth was so liquid, it just kind of was part of it when it was flipping around.
So life could be on the moon?
Not really. It might have at a different time, but Ma says right now the component of it doesn't have what we need to be able to support life. Now, life could live on it, but it would have to be under different kinds of shells and things like that. But he said you couldn't walk around on the moon.
Why does one face always face Earth? We never see the backside of it.
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
That would happen with your cabinets in your kitchen.
No, but I'm thinking most heavenly bodies will rotate on their axis.
Yeah, but the way
This one doesn't.
No, it doesn't. And
It
the way,
rotates on our axis.
because it's going around us, but the way it goes around us is, I don't know. Ma just says, he's showing me a picture in my head, and I can't quite get it out. But he says that, yeah, we never do see the dark side of the moon, and but it has to do with geometry of some kind. He's showing me it. Well, that happens sometime. I don't know enough about astronomy to be able to tell you, but he says it's not going to change. Okay, Shell.
So I'm asking about a thing called red rain that happened in India. And scientists evaluated this, and they ran it under various tests, and they found that it was living and that they couldn't kill it. They couldn't freeze it. They couldn't heat it to death. And even under these extreme conditions where anything on Earth would die, it was replicating.
Mm-hmm.
Does Mom
Thank
know
you for
what
sharing that.
Does Mom
Scare
know
the whole room.
Brace yourselves.
That's
Who knows
creepy.
how long it'll be before they take over?
Yeah, but Ma says it doesn't have that long a lifespan.
Well, if there's enough of them.
Yeah, but it's replicating. But the host per se is dying, and as it's replicating, it's getting weaker. So he says, don't worry about it. It's not going to take over the planet.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, Christine?
So we don't know what the red rain is?
Do we need to? Heck, you know,
Well,
I
the
don't
other-
know. I don't know what gluten is, and it doesn't bother me.
The other part of the story
It's a lie.
is that they saw a meteor spray and land in their field. So, and that happened the week before. And so the scientists went out and found part of the meteor and brought it into the lab along with samples of the red rain, and they found a match. So they think it came from outer space.
Outer space.
So
Yeah.
something's living in outer space.
Yeah, a lot of
Oh,
things
of
are
course.
living in
We
outer space.
suspected.
We're not alone.
No, we're
The what?
We're not alone.
You're not alone.
We're not. Surprise! We're not.
Yeah. Okay, Christine.
No, she passed. That's why I just did the question. Go on.
Oh,
Moni.
deer in the headlights. I want to know what the universe does with all the negative energy that the more and more people that come on this planet, a much higher percentage of them are creating negative, bad
Ma says
stuff.
that's not true.
Feels like it.
Yeah, it feels like it, because when you get to feeling negative, you're going to pull negative. It's like.
Right.
Thank
Right.
you, Mom.
Like.
And he says we have really a big explosion going on of very positive people. So when you think of the balance between light and dark, it's always pretty much going to stay the same.
You need to change your circle.
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Join
That's
our
why
circle.
I'm here.
It's like, did you know that if you walked into an old mining area and you saw there were 7 churches, do you know how many bars were in town?
14?
7.
Oh.
They usually found that dark and light. That, they talked about all the bars, but they always had little tiny churches all around.
Yeah.
And we seem Ma says that as human beings, we tend to balance out. So if you run into a lot of negativity, just stop and say, somewhere, I'm going to find all those positive people. Because
I try to. It's just I do get overwhelmed sometimes
The
with
sun will
the
come
amount
out.
of.
Tomorrow.
Are you going to sing
Okay.
that on Sunday?
Yes.
Are you?
Yay!
It's a surprise for Dottie.
Oh, okay. I'll try.
Okay, nobody tell her.
Nobody tell me. Chris, do you have a question?
Yeah, do all the beings on this planet, do they all have souls?
The beings on this planet who are living?
Yes.
Yes.
You mean like your ex-wife?
Yeah.
You have to think she does. and forgive her.
Yeah. Mama says all of the beings on this planet have souls, but not all the souls on this planet have bodies. Okay. And
Well, riddle that out.
clarity, not human bodies, but animals, etc.
There are, yeah,
are non-bound.
non-what, babe?
Non-bound?
Disembodied.
Disembodied.
Disembodied souls.
Yeah.
There's disembodied soul here. Yeah. Yes. Lynn.
Mine was, like St. Clair, I believe cruel treatment of animals we eat and use is not necessary. Will the world awaken to compassion toward our lesser brothers and sisters, the animals?
That's a real, if we come up with another type of protein that could take the place, yes.
It's just the cruel treatment part, because they're organic and humane, and then there's cruel treatment. And then my friend Jessica thought that our cruel treatment of the half human, half animals is what really brought the destructions and the tidal waves, and I feel like that's so important.
But
to
what
think
Ma
out
says is that we have to find enough food to sustain this planet, and we are coming about as better treatment, but we will be carnivores. It's going to be very difficult because to keep from getting anemic, we have to have some type of source that comes from animal. So I'm not suggesting we do Soylent Green and eat our own, but what they're saying is that this is something that we're going to have to find a way. If we can get people more interested in milk and eggs and things like that, that you don't have to harm, yes, that will happen. But it's one of those things that the treatment of animals has just recently, people have gone, oh, I mean, I can remember when the treatment of different peoples, whether it was Native American, African American, was so horrible. And you ask the people, why are you doing this? And they say, well, just because. And we have the same thing with the way we're treating animals. It's just because. Nobody ever stepped in and say, you have to look at this. And Elena, it's a great question, but Ma says it's going to happen. But there again, it's going to take a while for people to become aware. And everybody, we answered this question somewhere else. Most people think of raising animals or dairies or whatever as ma and pa kettle, a little farm with little animals running around. That is their vision, because that's the way their grandparents were. So that's the vision. He says it's going to, there again, it's going to take 2 more generations, and all these people like myself die out, where the new generations are going to not look at it that way. They're going to realize it's an agribusiness or,
Well,
Factory
it's the agribusiness. It's cruel. The old farms are more humane, and a lot of the younger people are saying, just buy organic farm, and you can go back, away from the cruel stuff.
But the younger people are going to change it. But the ones that are over 50 still have that vision.
I think it's like that when it isn't.
Yeah, when it
needs
isn't.
to
Yeah,
go back.
that's what's happening.
It needs to go
Yeah,
back.
Tom.
I wonder if Mark can tell us when this drought will be broken in the state of California.
Okay, Ma says this drought comes about almost every 21 years, and but everybody runs scared and goes, "Oh my gosh, it's never going to rain again," and then it rains, and then they forget. And he says, "You live in a semi-desert here. Please stop getting so panicked about it and save water." Ma just says, "I don't understand why you've got millions of golf courses across the country, and then you scream that you don't have any water." He says, "Who eats the grass?" He doesn't understand that that a lot of the water that's used for recreational and it isn't used for people to drink. So yeah, it's a big for him, he doesn't understand it. He understands Lynn's question a little better, but drought, because we are going to go through this. And, there was a drought in the 80s, was it the 80s or 90s, but Ma says it's about 21 years. Yeah, so we will get out of it, and then we will go more into, Ma says the earth is changing, but this is interesting, he says, the earth is changing and it always will change. Honor the change. Not despair over what was, but honor the change. Yeah, Barbara. Okay. Sheila.
I have a similar question to Mary's, but what is the spiritual purpose of the Ebola virus?
The spiritual purpose is, it's not about the spirituality. Oh, this is, Sheila, you hit something that Ma says, why do you think you're here?
You mean her here?
No, people.
We're here.
We're here. Why do you think you're there? Why do you think you're here? Everybody's afraid of dying. They're all scared. Oh no, I might get something and I might die. And Ma says, you're going to die. Everybody in this room is going to die. And you keep worrying about, well, these people are going to die, these people are going to die, these people are going to die. And he said, we're all going to die some way. And he says, what we try and do is keep people from being in pain. And that's what I think really bothers us about the Ebola, because it's, people are in pain over it. And Ma says, yeah, that's not, the spirituality that you learn is everybody's going to die. Whether it's AIDS, whether it's the bubonic plague, whatever plague that comes through, is Mother Earth kind of balancing things. And he says, don't get caught up in worrying about people's a lifetime or their existence, because we're all going to leave this planet and go on or come back or whatever. Honor the fact that the people were here. Do you understand that answer? Just honor the people that are here and love them and try and help them so they're not going through any pain. The best as we can. But God's source is not saying, oh good, I'm going to give them another plague to worry about. Okay, we haven't earned it. That's not what it's all about. Okay, Deb.
Will the upsets that are going on in all of these different countries...
But Ma says they'll continue.
Okay.
Ma says you are a warlike group, you human beings. He says, give me 4-year-old boys and they'll beat each other to a pulp if you give them a chance. He says, we don't know what went wrong with humans, but they're warlike. And they're always going to be warlike. Yeah. And he says, you can march for peace, you can pray for peace, you can do all that, but human beings aren't peaceful. And they'll always, the stronger will pick on the little one. And he says, all you can do is say, spiritually, I am above this. Spiritually, I know that I want to help people who are being harmed. I want to help work with them. And if you want to really help, you might go to the country that you want to help those people or work with that. But he says, as far as there being peace completely on the planet, there's never going to be. I know it's awful when he says that, but I can understand what he's talking about. I mean,
well, it's always been, and it will always be.
Well, but we keep changing. We keep thinking we're moving above it. We listen to Deepak Chopra. We listen to these. We listen to Jesus. We listen to these wonderful, wonderful, peaceful beings talking about peace. And now I hear people saying, "Well, you know, Chopra said da 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 da." Like, well, Jesus said, and Jesus talked about peace. Now they have people, they have monks that are, Buddhist monks that are going out and warring. Something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime.
Where is that happening?
Yeah, what's that mean?
In China.
Oh.
We don't know.
Wow.
It's kind of, China's not talking either about it, but they have all these different factions now of people you thought were really peaceful.
Mm.
So what you do, you become peaceful. You don't yell at your neighbor. You don't scream at somebody in traffic. The only way peace comes about for you is for you to be peaceful. You can't make somebody be peaceful.
Right.
You can be peaceful within yourself. Okay, what's the next one? What's going on with the country?
Mm-hmm.
What's your question?
Will we ever have an end of the stalemate between the political parties?
Ma says 2016 is going to be crazy. If you're going to buy any property, you're going to sell any property, do it in 2015, because when 2016 comes, all sorts of things are going to be tumbling around. He says, will it get better? Yes, but there's going to be, it's going to like the gates open. Ma says what the United States needs is a third party. And he says, if any of you really think you want to help, find somebody else that could run on another party. Talk about people organizing and getting together.
Grassroots.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody.
I'll pass.
Okay.
Is Medford, Oregon a good city to... I'm considering relocating there.
And Medford is great. Even though it's a city, it still has, has kind of a smaller town energy. Mm-hmm. The weather is pretty good. If you don't like rain, don't go there, but if you do. But the people are very friendly, and Ma says it's a good place. Hard to get a job there.
Very hard.
Yeah, and so just know that. If you're not able to take care of yourself financially, don't go there because
I was thinking of doing real estate again there.
talk to somebody in Medford
Okay.
and say, a real estate agent, say, are you looking for somebody? Because my guide says there's a couple of agencies that are looking for people, and say, I want to get a job working for a real estate agent in Medford because I can talk Californian. Isn't that fun?
That's what I was thinking of, trying to get on a team more so than taking it on all myself.
Yeah, that's what he
I've done
says.
it. Okay, perfect. That's what I was thinking of
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Will our Medicare and Social Security systems stay intact?
The Social Security is going to stay intact. The we're brand new in what we're doing with the medical. Ma says it's going to bounce around for a good 4 years, and before it really gets itself settled. But just know that people are working. I mean, they're working. They're trying, but it's very, very difficult right now because everybody's thinking of a different. Ma says everybody's thinking of a different cure. I like that, Ma. What a pun! And for the medical system, it is going to coalesce. Not quite like socialism in other countries, but there is going to be a way of it working and doing better.
Good.
Yeah.
Pass.
Christine.
Pass.
Quirky.
Who shot Kennedy?
Awful.
And is Kennedy back? Is Kennedy back?
No, Kennedy. My guy said Kennedy isn't back. He didn't want to come back yet. It was a cartel of people. It wasn't just one individual, and some of the people in the cartel spoke Spanish, and Ma says it looks like they might have been from, we don't know, but he keeps saying it. What are you saying, Barbara?
Cuba.
Is it Cuba? Yeah.
Cuba, yeah.
He says it's down south, and I was kind of, is this Cuba or Chile he's giving me, Colombia? I don't know, but and he said that what happened is it had been planned. It wasn't instantaneous, so nobody just decided to grab a rifle and go shooting. It had been planned for quite a while.
Well, that's a better answer than I'm beginning for the last 30 years.
Yeah, stick around.
Quite a while being what, years?
Yeah, it was a couple of years. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people just didn't like what was going on, especially after the Bay of Pigs.
Okay.
Okay, Levin.
I have nothing. I pass.
Okay, Chris.
Before Kennedy comes back.
Chris?
No,
She passed. Oh, the other Chris.
Is there gonna be earth changes and is there a good place to relocate? Major earth changes.
Yeah, there's still going to be major earth changes, and because Mother Earth is trying to finally kind of settle, so the Earth is going to be moving. So there's going to be earthquakes. If earthquakes bother you, you might want to move somewhere where there haven't been any, but there's hardly any.
Like where there's tornadoes and hurricanes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. If earth changes bother you, if the Earth moving, then go somewhere who doesn't have that they don't have it. But there are going to be earth changes, and there's going to be the Earth is going to really start shaking a bit. And Ma says, just don't there again. Say, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, but we are going to have that type of thing going on.
Are we falling in the ocean?
No, we're not falling into the ocean. Ma says we're cantilevered over the ocean.
Okay.
Okay.
What does that mean?
He says as long as the Sierras are tilted this way, if there's a huge earthquake and the Sierras start to tilt this way, we will go into the ocean. But he says that's not geologically possible right now.
Oh.
Okay.
So are we talking another big earthquake in this area?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Sort of an answer, but our drought and the traffic congestion, which is now going in parts to.
If all of the people who it's like if all the people who moved to California realize that Californians don't know how to drive very well.
Are they signs that California is becoming uninhabitable? That's my question of law.
Well, that's like saying, is India becoming uninhabitable? It's like saying, Ma says that it depends on what you're looking for. I mean, seriously, if you're looking for some place that you can make $150,000 a year, and your house costs $2.5 million, this is a good place for you. If what you're looking for is your house to be $90,000, and the salary be $8.50 an hour, there's loads of other places. But this whole thing with congestion of cars, everything else, it depends on what you feel is important.
It just seems like the congestion now till 11 in the morning, starting at 3. And the drought, I remember a dream a long time ago when people were interested in space beings, and I didn't have knowledge of it, but I remember this being saying from the desert, there could come a time when California could be uninhabitable. I hope that's not happening. But my question was, are these any signs of something shifting here for the negative?
If people keep up negative energy, there again, it goes back to the individual. Because what Ma says is that, no, they've been saying that about New York, that it was going to sink, that Manhattan was going to sink, and it was uninhabitable, and there were too many people and too much pollution. And he says that what happens, some people will drive 4 hours each way to make the money. And as long as people are going to do that, the congestion is going to be bad. And luckily, the law says that you're going to get more fast trains and more buses that work on a different kind of fuel that carry more people. But most people want to be in control. Remember, that's the human nature. They kind of want to be in control. And if you get a spirituality of, it feels really good to ride on the train. If you get into that spirituality of it's okay to calm down, things will calm down. Tom?
Are we taking sufficient steps now as a society globally to prevent the damage of global warming getting out of hand?
And Ma says, we have so many things going on that people aren't looking and working with. For instance, Tom, when you talked about drought, they have people who've invented things called super stills that take water, ocean water, and turn it into potable water. And it will pay them to do that because of the minerals that are in the water. And somebody has stepped in and said no. So if enough people said, wait a minute, we don't want our crops dry. We can use, and there's water you can get out of the ocean. It's almost like gray water. It doesn't have the salt in it, but it still isn't really drinkable. Okay, the same with the global warming. Ma says there's so many things you already have that people are saying, oh, I don't want to invest in it, or I'm not interested in it, that could help negate some of the problems that's coming up. And Ma's talking about, solar, he's talking about all these things we already have. But for some reason, people don't want to give up the known. And there again, it's that 2-generation thing. Where people feel like they should have their own car, their own gas, their own... And as long as we hold on to this, it has to be my way, Ma says it's going to be difficult. But the minute people get into a culture of society, it's going to change.
Thank you.
Yeah, Barbara.
It was similar to what Chris asked, but I wonder about California and just some coastal changes, not necessarily falling into the ocean.
No, what's going to happen is we're going to see more walls being built to keep the ocean from intruding, kind of like Holland, where they have the dikes that keeps the ocean out. And Ma says we're going to start building some of those.
I mean, along our coast, and then I also have family on Long Island. And my aunt who was there with Superstorm Sandy, where the water just came in.
And that's what Ma's saying. He's saying as the ice caps start melting, the water's going to start going up in the oceans. Okay, we have the ability to keep it at bay, but it hasn't become enough of a problem yet. But Ma says you're going to notice more and more places are going to start building what Ma calls dikes, or structures that'll keep seawalls. Thank you. Yeah, Sheila.
And can we expect full disclosure in the United States of ETs in the next year?
Not while people are saying we're going to get them. So many people have a connection with ETs, where they can look up in the night sky and go, I know I came from Venus, or I came from the Pleiades, or I came from wherever. And they have this knowledge and they have that ability to feel. And yet, they're not, there again, the society isn't accepting it as a whole. We are such a warlike nation. If something comes up that we don't know what it is, we want to shoot it down. So, there is going to be, we're being talked to all the time. And nobody nobody wants to talk about it because they're afraid of what might happen. People are going to think they're different. I've been contacted, I've talked to ETs, and they're scared. We had a big interference right after Hiroshima. ETs came in like mad and said, you are not going to blow up this planet. It would be like a huge pinball. If you blew this up and all the debris and everything else would start knocking your planetary system out, and we're not going to allow it. And that's one of the times that we really had a connection where they came in and talked. And are they going to do that again? Probably, if it looks like we're threatening. Usually they just look at us like we're a bunch of bratty kids. But if it really gets to the point if we're going to mess up everybody else, they're going to come back. People are being contacted all the time. And so, yeah, they let themselves be known. But you have to be open to, okay, this is an ET talking to me. Okay. Deb, did we get you?
Are we still on the U.S.? How is the stock market going to do in the next year or two?
It's going to bounce. 2014, 2015, it's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. There's some stocks that are going to go up, and most of them have to do with still with the computer systems. And but 2016, we're going to have a depression. So protect yourself from that. If any of you feel like, I need to save some money, you're probably getting that feel that there's some money you have to be saving for that time. Okay, personal. Cheryl, you want to start out with a personal question? Go.
Is there a message for me?
Yeah, Ma says that right now you are taking so many steps forward that sometimes you stop and look and say, where am I going? And he says at that time, just stop. And then take a nice deep breath and start moving forward. You're doing beautiful. And let's do it. And let's keep it up. Okay. Laura.
I have a current health issue, which you're aware of. Do I need to do anything medically about that?
Yeah, Ma says that you need to go to a medical doctor, find out what's going on. And he doesn't feel like you need surgery, but he feels like there's something that needs to be done. It's a medicine.
Okay.
That's all I'm getting. Okay, sure.
I have connections to different type of doctors. Is there anything that Ma would like to say about that? I mean,
Ma says that as far as the doctoring and the healing you're doing, you're really doing well. And he said, don't negate it. The healing you're doing is very good. So, Ma sometimes says, if you believe that you can be cured by going outside at midnight and twirling a black cat around your head, buy a black cat. In other words, if you feel that what you're doing is really good, stay with it because you are feeling good and you are getting better. Ray. Okay, Deb?
What can I do to increase my business?
More people dying.
Huh?
Well, Ma says you haven't advertised enough and you need to have a better web page. People don't know how to find you.
Okay.
And you're good. Anybody who's ever had you do a service, they really like you. But you're not passing on enough cards. Your advertising sucks. Don't you like that?
Non-existent? You mean that advertising?
Straight from the mouth of a spiritual guide. He just kind of wants to do that. Find somebody who'll help you if you don't know how to do it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, Mary.
Tommy, our grandson.
Ma says Tommy is going on 16. So just love him. I mean, we don't see that he's going to be harming anybody. The only person he'd harm right now would be himself. And just keep loving him. He really needs to know that he has some stability, and you need to be his anchor right now. You can't be in any way show him that he's not a good kid. You need to just be the anchor, is what Ma's saying. Okay, Ray.
I pass.
Luann.
I wanted to know about the interview I went on yesterday.
Ma says the interview was very good. They have somebody in-house that they've been thinking about. So Ma says, please get back in touch with them and say, hey, this is Luann. I really liked meeting you. Please let me know as soon as you make a decision. Okay. Somehow they thought you were good, but they didn't know how much you wanted it.
Oh. Okay.
So Ma says, let them know.
I'll do that in the morning.
Yeah, do that in the morning. Correct.
Wow. So what can I do for our business?
For CCL?
Yeah.
Same thing.
As I've been doing?
It sucks.
Ma says
Instant karma.
Ma says you need to start advertising. You need to do things where people know who you are, what you're doing. If you're talking about your individual business, if you're talking about CCL, it's a hard sell. Spirituality is a hard sell.
Well,
because I'll tell you why. People want to have dogma. They want to have boundaries. Ma says people want to know, this is where I go. You know, it's like, I'm using a pinball analogy. It goes down the channel. And a lot of people want to have that kind of channel. And what you're talking about is, we love you, we love everybody, Mother, Father, God, and people kind of, it's just too iffy. They want you to find something, Ma says, find something that says this is who we are, that people can identify with.
So it's like using Constant Contact and the website and the meetup. Is that still the way to go?
But you have to find out what you're selling.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, Ma says
so
you have to be specific about what you're selling.
So Ma, will you tell Dottie so she can tell me?
He's just saying be specific.
Well, I don't know. Okay, thank you.
You can also think about it. Yeah, Christine?
Okay, I've got a couple questions.
It's okay, you passed before, so okay.
Our household with our new member, is this going to be...
It's going to cause a lot of... Ma says there's going to be a lot of chaos. And if chaos turns you on, fine.
You got it.
You got it. If not, then you're going to have to do something about changing the situation.
Okay.
Some people like excitement. You know, I used to take in foster kids because I really liked the energy. And, you know, when I had 4 kids running through the house, and I just thought that was great. I was in my element. Other people would have driven them crazy. So you have to decide, is this something I really want? And if not, then you have to make a decision.
Is this going to be for a while?
Yes.
Okay. My old computer, is it going to get fixed?
Ma says you don't have it being
It's a
fixed.
laptop.
Ma says you don't have it being fixed. Take it to somebody who knows what they're doing. Because whoever's got it right now doesn't know what they're doing with it. And it'll get fixed. It has the capacity to be fixed, not the person who's working on it. Okay. Sheila.
I have a brother who's sick right now, and I'm wondering what Ma sees in terms of either cure and or healing for him.
Does he have somebody that he can just sit and talk to? He needs that desperately. It's like he's not sure he wants to get better, and he needs to talk that out, and you can't do it for him. You don't have anybody in the family that's a counselor, or you can't talk to him, because he's not talking about what he wants. And that's how he's going to heal. If he talks about what he wants, what he wants to do, where he wants to go. When did he... Ma says that he kind of gave up in life. What happened?
Well, I'm not sure which time you're talking about.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think that there's a possibility for that, but he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So you can't make somebody talk when they don't
No,
want to.
you can't. But my guide says that's what he needs to do. He really needs to talk to somebody. Yeah. Does he have any faith? Does he have a minister or a priest or a rabbi or somebody he could talk to? Anybody he really respects that he could talk to? Because Ma just sees him sitting there being miserable, and we want him to get out of his own way by talking to somebody. Can he be cured or healed? Yes. Does he want to be? That's the question.
Maybe talk to you. Maybe you.
No, he doesn't want to talk.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Yeah. Barbara?
The work that I do now, that I get an income from, is something I really want to be about. That's what I want to do. My question is about whether I can do it or whether I will do it on my own without working for someone else.
Mom says you need to write a book.
Dang, he's with a bunch of other people.
And what he says is as you start writing the book, you're going to see your talent and your capacity and what you want to do, and it's going to formulate it. So then you have that book and people will start honoring who you are. Right now you're not getting the honoring you need because you're so good at what you do. Okay. But if you just sit there quietly, it's like you don't have a bright light shining that says, here I am, you know, like a diner. You know, you don't. It's just this soft energy, which I think is remarkable and beautiful for the work you do. But it's hard for you to do it on your own and bring in a clientele. Okay. Tom?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, let's see, that old familiar question about Megan. What's new? And where did I write it? I don't really know how to say it. But I wrote, my younger daughter Megan has been out of touch for 1.5 years again. Will this continue, and is it meant to be?
Okay, this is real interesting what Ma says. Ma says, when are you going to let her go?
Right, have.
No, or you wouldn't ask the question.
On her mother, naturally, on her birthday.
Yeah, but Ma says that you two, when you're together, don't work well as a unit.
We do and we don't. I mean, that's more about...
Okay, so what he's saying is, for you, the only way you're ever going to get her back is by letting her go. Yeah, if you release her and she's out there, because right now she can still feel you, and she keeps resisting coming back because she can still feel you wanting her. And then when you let her go and just cut that cord, and she floats out there, she's going to go, wait a minute, I think I need Mom. But as you're still holding on to her, she's not coming back.
I'm trying to let her know I still care. You know, once in a blue moon.
No, let her go.
Okay.
Because every time you say you care, she feels that energy and she resists it. And then that tears you up because you're so intuitive.
I'm kind of past the torn up place with this.
Oh, just let her go.
Okay.
That's the only way she'll ever come back. Chris?
Well, another question came to me right now. As far as Lynn's daughter, Vanessa, is there anything we can be doing to help her with her autism that we're not doing? As far as
Who's helping her crawl?
No, but I don't think anyone's doing the crawling right now. We're trying to put her on a bicycle because she's so much lost her walking ability.
Right.
But school won't do anything. We have to go there and do it.
Yeah, because Mom says that crawling builds up her muscles so well, and that would be good. The bicycle, she's lost muscles since we last talked. She lost that muscle tone, and you get the bicycle, it's hard for her to even move it, even though it's easily moved. And if we can get her to crawl, that's going to build up the arm-leg connection and will really help. Does she swim, Lynn?
We have her taken into a pool 2 or 3 times a month. She walks through the pool and is held up a little bit.
Yeah, because that would help build up her muscles.
Lean on them she can take walks if people hold her up.
Yeah.
But the day school has stopped its involvement with her physical stuff. I have to do it for her to stay there. So.
Okay.
So thank you.
Yeah, we just need to build up those muscles, babe. Her spirit is so pure.
It is.
There's just such a wonderful energy around her. And it's the body that we need to just keep trying to build up.
Balance from her brain aspect.
Right. Chris?
Well, my question for myself was going to be, what's the best next step for me to take in my spiritual path?
You're angry at somebody that my guide says you need to release it. It's holding you down, like there again, it's that anchor. And you're ready to fly, but you've got this anchor, the anger. I like that, an anger anchor, you know. And Ma says, let it go, and then you can fly. Because you have all that in your heart, you have all that spirituality that's so precious, but you still have the anger, and you can't soar.
Being
You've got an
human.
anchor on you. Think of an eagle. That's what I see with you, is an eagle flying, and it's got this cord in the ground, this anchor.
You had to go back to
Well, that
Florida.
explains the homicide thing versus suicide. I guess that homicide is external and suicide is internal.
Right. Yeah. Mary, do you have another question you would like to ask?
I think I'm okay, Don, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have one?
do.
Yes, Cheryl.
My friend Susan Marsland,
The one who's been sick.
the one who's been sick, who went through chemotherapy and it didn't help, and now she's about to go through an experimental treatment up at Stanford, and I get a sense that there's some energetic resistance that she's got. There's something inside of her.
She's just scared, and she's afraid that this is her last chance, and if it doesn't work, she's going to die. And what Ma says is this experimental drug that they have looks like it works very well on her type of cancer.
Wonderful.
So if she can get rid of the fear.
So we're having a healing circle for her, and
Good.
I cannot get her to commit. Yes, I'm going. We've talked about it. I've suggested a day and time, and maybe she's got a lot going on that she just can't get back on the phone.
It's still fear. I mean, what if the healing circle doesn't work? Ma says she is so afraid right now. She's really scared of dying, and she's afraid if she takes the last thing that's offered and it doesn't work, she's going to be leaving the planet. Very, very scary.
Is there anything that we can do?
What do you do when you run into somebody like that, Barbara, who's just so scared of dying? Can you think of anything that we could give Cheryl to take with her? Or you can talk later.
Yeah, well, you know, I would talk to her about the fear.
Yeah.
What does it feel like to be facing this treatment? What comes up in you around this? Just to
Get it out of her?
Yeah, let her say exactly how she's feeling.
Yeah, fear unsaid just keeps it growing.
Right.
But once you get it out there. Yeah.
I would ask her what keeps her from wanting to do the healing circle.
Well, there again, I don't think she knows what it is.
She doesn't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, as far as she's concerned, it could be 10 naked witches dancing around a fire.
Yoo-hoo, let's go.
Oh,
sorry.
I've described it, but maybe that doesn't. It didn't land.
But she also doesn't have a sense.
She doesn't resonate with it.
She doesn't resonate with
So
it, and
wouldn't-
so it's almost like that she would have to have trust in me to just get herself in my house to do it.
But if you have also the fear that she hasn't spoken about, then there's an armor, and feels like there's not an opening even to be able to
do.
That's
to be
kind of
able
what
to
I'm
do the
picking
healing
up.
to get through. If she's got a block there,
right?
Even if she came to your house and had 10 people doing whatever, it wouldn't get through.
Right, and it would maybe make her even more frustrated or fearful that, see, it didn't work.
Is she open to any alternative treatments or not?
So that is an alternative
I mean,
treatment
you
that
could,
she's going through.
you could have someone sit for her higher self. Someone else. If you wanted to have a healing circle, you could have some.
If she can't get herself there, just have the circle anyway.
Well,
and
kind of like
find
Toggle works.
someone.
The way Toggle works.
Well, that's what it is that we're going to do.
Well, somebody will be sitting for her anyway.
Someone will be sitting for her
Or standing
anyway.
for her or whatever.
Right.
Have you
And
ever
then- and
asked
just
her
go to
what
her
she
higher
thinks
self
death
then.
is?
So it's not an intrusion, it says, you know.
You
It
ask
may not be here,
permission
but we're
of her
coming.
higher self, and then
But if you go to the higher
As she's
self, the
there.
higher self can accept the energy and we'll give it to her when she's ready.
Right.
Is that right?
Can I ask her what she's so fearful of?
Well, I think Dottie said it. She's afraid that she's going to try this and it's not going to work and she's going to die.
So what is the fear of death? I mean, she doesn't have an idea of what heaven is.
She
it's not a bad thing.
is very connected to her 4 boys, her husband, her family, her community.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to leave it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's her, her reason for being right now is her
Is
kids.
the family.
and-
Well, they're probably holding on to her too.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So there's a lot holding her.
When Joe had a last treatment that was too toxic for him, so it really didn't choose to follow through with it. It really helped him to find out there was an alternative high vitamin C arm treatment, which in his case it was started too late to actually save his life, but it saved him all pain and it gave him hope. And sometimes knowing, and all the time he thought this may work, it may not. As it turned out, it gave him peace, and he didn't have any pain, and he crossed over peacefully. Sometimes something like that, because that's a real new viable thing that's being done, very high C, and it's non-harmful. It gives greater well-being, and it could work. Sometimes the person knowing there's something else you could try, which might have two avenues. Perhaps it could help ease the fear. It really did for him. And it kind of helped him go into just a gentle fog and cross over. He had absolutely no pain, no more pain, nothing.
So Barbara, what's your experience of why people are really afraid? Is it because of the pain or the unknowingness? Or both?
Well, fear of our human condition and existence.
I mean, sometimes it's pain, but mostly I would say not, because we can deal with that.
Right.
We deal with the pain. But the pain of having children and all of that is really, that's hard. I mean, that has to be acknowledged. And we can't, we do a healing circle, but we don't know what level the healing is going to come.
Right.
It may not be physical healing. It may. And it may be just at some level where we can have peace in our hearts and have that healing medicine, which is an open-hearted connection rather than a closed-hearted, I'm afraid connection, because when the heart opens, and we can get that with all the friends and family, that is healing at an important level. We don't know what level it's going to come, but then the whole thing is to have, you can't have curing all the time, but you can have healing up until the very last breath. When we open and there's that loving connection and love back and forth, and we have peace in our hearts when the time comes, one way or the other. And that is possible. That is possible. The thing is, how do we approach it, and how do we, where is she? We need to talk with her.
Yeah, she's local. She's in San Jose.
It's very possible that no one has really said the words to her or allowed her to say the words to them.
It is possible.
Because people don't want to talk about it.
We don't want to touch it. It's too
And
scary. It's scary
that's
for
what
us
we
too.
do is, I'm not saying for us to do that, but I'm just saying that that's why hospice works many times, is because you're in a place where there's just real authentic honesty about what's going on, and you can say it and name it, and you may be the only person in her circle of friends.
And you may not be able to make it better.
Yeah, you can't
but
make
you
it
can
better or
stand
change.
completely there with exactly how it is, and then it can change as you observe something and express it. It changes, and you don't know what it's going to change into, but it does change. And of course, we always go in with all of our support in the background for absolutely the highest good, whatever that is for her. And there's amazing and beautiful things that happen.
Do you have cards that I can give her?
Well, we
She
work
can
with
contact
hospice, so
Yeah, we work with different hospitals.
2 different hospices.
Barbara can do, I know, like her own the personal healing and essential oils makes a huge difference.
If you're going to take her into a group, my guide says that she should meet people individually. So the idea of a group right now is really scary.
So I've invited my sons, who she knows, and they're willing to go. And I've also invited 2 of our friends.
Does she
with
know
that,
them?
She doesn't know that the 4 of them are coming.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
gonna
will that make a
scare her.
difference?
Oh yeah.
If they come, will
Yeah,
that
she
be
might
helpful?
Yeah, I wouldn't want people I didn't know and being
I
in
don't
such
even
a
want people I don't
vulnerable
know
place.
when I've had a tooth removed. Yeah, imagine being as scared as she is.
It's really an out of control
I don't know what I'm doing.
event.
Yeah.
When you show up with people that she didn't invite and she wasn't at all prepared, and that scared me.
That might screw up your relationship with her. It feels to me like
You
that
don't
could.
want to be surprised. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm afraid, I'm
She's not
concerned it
careful.
might make her close down rather than open up.
We want to
Because
open
you're
her up.
trying to help, and I can feel this